I took this wonderful large piece of enamel and copper work, and I wanted to transfer it and change it into something via the GELLI plate. And it worked. You want to see me do that? Stay tuned. Hello print fans! Today I'll show you how I transferred this lovely enamel copper artwork via the gel plate. I'm doing the transfer by making a frottage on stone paper. It has 192 GSM but feels quite thin, and therefore it's good for frottage. It will also create lots of funny resist patterns, as you'll see. The artwork I got from my grandmother and never asked her where it came from. It is definitely of the 60s or 70s, and I thought it was Asian. It has this mat that is made of natural fiber. But it was probably from Middle America, as she's never been to Asia. So I'm taping the stone paper down as not to move too much while frottaging. This is a large graphite stick, and I'm unpacking it in order to get the large side to rub on the paper. Do it with easy pressure as to not go into the valleys too much. Later I see that obviously the surface is quite uneven, so I'm taking the still broad tip to go in the pieces that are lower. It's a bit tricky. What a lot of people don't know is that you can transfer the graphite on the gel plate just like that, without any extra medium. So also with a sketch or a portrait, you can do the same thing and you don't have to use stone paper. This is going to be a large piece. I always want to try larger. I'm a bit fed up with the smaller prints, and I thought this is a good chance to try my XSL gel plate again. Tell me what you think. Should I do more? Yes, thank you, Devi. Should I do more with the large plate? Or do you like the rather small ones? So now you can just put the stone paper upside down on the gel plate. Press it a little, rub it a little, and yeah, you'll see that there's a lot of that graphite left on the gel plate. Before I'm picking up the graphite though, I'll do another one with my wax sticks. That works quite differently. It'll just create a resist on the gel plate, and it'll somehow be more like a negative then. It's not important what color the wax stick is. This is just for the resist. The waxy part is going to resist the acrylic paint, and in this case also the etching ink. The process with the wax sticks is not that different, so I'll speed this up a little. I want to print on this Japanese paper that I just ordered. It's 48 by 64 centimeters, so quite large. It is about roughly 20 by 24 inches. And I'm going to take a pickup color, use a pickup color by the Golden Open, because this is a large print and I don't want it to dry too fast, because it'll take a while until I got the whole page covered. So I press the Japanese paper down, rub it for a while, leave it on for a while, and then seems like it's not taking enough of the graphite. Yeah, now it is. So voila, you can see it took up quite a bit of the graphite. You can make a second one even, because there's still graphite left on the gel plate. This is nice, but it's just not that interesting to me. The background is not so interesting, and it doesn't really inspire me to work this one out. But you saw that the graphite transfer works. So for the wax print, the wax resist print, I will use the etching inks. You know, I love them. I'm using the Akua ones that are easier to clean off your gel plate and your working stuff and everything. You can actually do this with soap, so yeah. I like the mixture that the red and the blue makes, so we'll see how this one turns out. You can already see on the stone paper that it's really exciting, and the color is great. So pressing on the Japanese paper, that goes rather quickly. Just make sure every piece of the page had contact. And voila, this is the result of the etching inks together with the stone paper. And you see those really, really interesting blobs and things and structures. And that is a thing that the stone paper does, a lot like GELLI paper would do, I think. But it's also the etching inks that react to this kind of technique way better than the acrylics, I think. And I made another wax resist, which I'm speeding up a lot here, just to try it with newsprint paper instead of the stone paper. It's funny, when you print it, you see the backside as an image also. Yeah, and well, this one didn't turn out at all like I wanted it to. You don't see the birds or flowers or anything, but it's a nice background, and I already can see animals in it. Now for the working out and developing process with colored pencils as usual. And I'm using blue and pink and purple, and later I decide to employ some green as well. And yeah, the most difficult task was actually to find the birds again and to work them out. Yeah. I made the birds a little lighter. I painted them white first, drew them white, but then later I used a light blue for the birds. You can, of course, work the background with acrylics, and that would be an interesting contrast of these fine details to just flat background. But for some reason, I really like the chaos in this picture. There's so much going on. And so I left it like that, and just, in every little bowl and blob and hole had to get its own shadow. So you can imagine this took me a long time, but it was so much fun. I had to ask the first graphite frottage where the bird was. So, yeah, well, that's really a disadvantage. I don't understand also why the birds have light outlines, because the wax is supposed to leave the paint on the paper. So actually the outlines should be darker. So I don't quite get it, but it is like it is. And here is a little info for all of you who have been waiting for my Shopify shop to open. I'm getting there. It is really complicated, and I've never done such a complicated thing before. I've had a shop on Etsy before, but yeah, that wasn't so great. And the Shopify is a lot different and harder to use. So it is fun also to create my own shop. And it looks beautiful already, but there's still like a few weeks of work I probably have to put in there. But you'll be the first ones to know, of course, when I open my shop. Those of you who are not that experienced in drawing, it's really, really easy to make a raindrop. I'm showing you this here. You just need, on the top, you need this round reflection on the top, but still inside the drop. And then at the very bottom, you need a larger reflection on the side. And that's all. Oh, and the color you put in the middle of the drop has to be the same as the surface the drop is lying on, so that it appears see-through. I'm using a rather dark olive green for the leaves. Some of these blobs open up in a rose-like structure, so I'm treating them as flowers and filling them in with pink and purple. The stone paper has given me, when I printed it, this fanned out structure. So I'm putting different colors in the background on each part of the fan, so to speak. And please excuse my bad attempt of making my fingernails look gothic. It didn't really work out that well. Doing some negative drawing here. So while I'm painting, drawing the background green, light green, the bird emerges from the back. So another bird in light blue. And all the drops and bubbles on the bird have to get their own shadows. Otherwise, Tina would not be satisfied. And yet another bird. The tissue I put under my hand is just not to smear the colored pencil. The etching ink itself, the Akua, doesn't smear at all, not a bit. And it's very good to draw on. But the layer has to have a certain thinness, I think. More flowers. Of course, you can employ a lot more colors. This is actually very wild for me, as you know, I'm more the monochrome type, and I'd love to stick to these 3 basic colors and not do more. This is a funny shape. It's like a giant worm end or elephant nose. Is it called the nose? Probably not. Anyway, it has to be something. So I'm making some strange sphere out of it. Don't know what it is, and I really don't know how this turned up. Probably when I was moving the stone paper a bit on the plate. And I'm almost there, just speeding this up a little. And I can't explain what makes me think, okay, now I gotta stop and the painting is done. It's just an intuitive feeling you get. And I've learned not to overwork pieces and rather have some areas unfinished. I think that's always better than overworking a piece. I guess I could make the birds stand out a little bit more by giving them more darker shadows, maybe employing some black even, just a little bit, only for the birds. But for some reason, I want them to submerge to in the rest of the painting, and it's not very professional because a painting should have, especially when it's that large, it should have a concentrating, focusing point, and you know the rule of thirds and everything. I never stick to that. I just like it the way it is now. Tell me what you think. Obviously, the elephant snout on the left is not a center of focus. I think really I should make it darker on the right side. It's a little too light on the right side, and to even it out. What do you think? I'd love to hear your comments. And see you next week. Bye.